And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's a snack pack, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford coming right at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode of the PCC Multiverse on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel, Melinda Barkhouse Ross and I cover the latest news and notes from PlayStation State of Play, Netflix's 2024, and Universal Studios is expanding its universe in Florida. So go ahead and hear our thoughts on that. Plus, also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football will be back next week with our Super Bowl thoughts. So look forward to that wherever you get your podcast. Joe Soro, he is Hyman Roth today. Go ahead and check out him as Oxide D47 at LakersBall.com. Plus, also make sure you go ahead and check out his show tomorrow night. I think since it's about a 5:30 start time, you want to do a 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. for the nightcap tomorrow night?
No.
You don't want to do one at all? Okay. Way to go ahead and tell people we're going to do it after every game. And then
Nah, I don't do that. I quit.
Okay. All right. Well, tune in tomorrow anyways. At some point in time, we'll have some sort of nightcap for you.
We'll have a nightcap. Maybe I'd say 10 for sure, maybe 9.
Well, because the game starts at 5:30.
All right,
so
9:05.
Okay. If the post game is done, sure, why not?
We'll go. Just kidding.
All right. Well, there you go. It is, of course, the Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro. Go ahead and check that out there. Plus, also as well, the Lakerholics. I'm trying to see if we can get a Lakerholic spotlight set for you this weekend. I know you've been asking for Laker Tom, so hopefully we can get Laker Tom back on this weekend. Maybe even L Rob if it's early enough. So get him on to talk some Lakerholic stuff, and that'll be on Sunday. So go ahead and look forward to that. Plus, also as well, of course, our good friends Lakers in 5, Empire Jeff TV, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, of course, John Costa with his Lakers Corner, and of course, also as well, Clutch Talk and the John McCalian channel. Speaking of great channels, please go ahead, subscribe today. Click on the little Joe above the big Joe right there for you. Yeah, just go in there. Yep, now he puts on the mute. Okay. I'll just go ahead and be that.
Yeah.
Slurp that baby. There you go. Absolutely.
What is that? ASMR stuff? That's why he did it.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So go ahead and support us right there for you at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Truly appreciate it. Well, it is the Lakers heading to New York to continue on the Grammy trip tomorrow night. Prime time, ABC. Lakers, the Big Apple, facing off against the Julius Randle-less Knicks. So we'll see what happens. LeBron, AD, will they be back? Should be back. Could be back. Might be back. Questionable as always. So we'll see. We never know these days. My gosh, it just, they interview in the morning and then they talk about the game and then they don't show up for the game or they sit on the sidelines in street clothes. So who knows what's going to go on these days when it comes to the Lakers. I will tell you, though, a couple news items that we're going to be talking about include LeBron James, who has been, I guess, ramping up the Rumorville since that infamous, we actually were one of the first to report it. We were actually live on the air when he tweeted that out there, that hourglass, that ominous hourglass tweet that he sent a couple days ago. Well, he's not going to be traded. Rich Paul recently commented today that he's not going to be traded. He's not going anywhere, nor is he asking to go anywhere. So we'll go ahead and hear Joe's thoughts on that. Plus also as well, of course, the big news for the Lakers today is not good. As everyone saw, Jarred Vanderbilt, after having a good first half of the Lakers, unfortunately, in the process of getting a steal, he unfortunately came up lame with one of his feet. He's had bursitis in one of his feet already. This is something more extensive, and sources are telling ESPN and Dave McMenamin that he could be out a minimum of several weeks with a right foot injury and could be out even longer pending further evaluation, according to ESPN sources. So we may be talking a season-ending injury for Jarred Vanderbilt, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So we've got to discuss that as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can talk about here on today's show. Darren says, I'm looking at Groundhog Day. What a great pop culture movie. Yes, it is a very good one indeed. Great day to do it. It is Groundhog Day. Always a good movie to go ahead and pop in there on Groundhog Day indeed. Harold Ramis, rest in peace. Speaking of rest in peace, to a legend in the movie and entertainment industry, Carl Weathers. This one's for you, Apollo Creed. Absolutely. Mandalorian. There you go. He actually got an Emmy nomination for his work on The Mandalorian. Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Rest in peace. But big news day today, Joe. He is here. We're talking the Lakers. I guess we'll start off with the biggest news of all. That is Jarred Vanderbilt. He is out several weeks at a minimum. I'm going to say right now he's probably done for the season. I don't think the Lakers will try to push it unless they go far in the playoffs. And you and I have debated and gone back and forth that that's going to happen. But yeah, let's go for it first. Your thoughts on the Jarred Vanderbilt injury? We got a good week of Jarred Vanderbilt, and that's about it.
I'm going to take a guess that it's likely a stress, an extensive stress fracture on his foot.
Could be Achilles related.
I don't think it's Achilles. I think it's the top part of the foot that might have finally succumbed to the kind of maybe you know how when you injure one leg you overcompensate on the other. So I think the overcompensation possibly from the bursitis might have put more pressure on the top of his foot, and this is the result. We were never able to get a full year of Jarred Vanderbilt, and it's too bad too because he was starting to come into his own here.
Got a good week from him.
His confidence was up, and he was having more than a good week. He was starting to get into a flow here. He may have had a really good shooting week, but his defense was good before then. And it's just one of those things where injuries, I guess another factor in the LeBron era, AD era, is because we harp on things, and rightfully so in a lot of cases, but at the same time, since 2021, injuries have played a part too in kind of derailing the Lakers from greatness. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's not, and this is not some old player either. That's the sad part. And when 80 got hurt, he was 28. So it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it had to go this way. And it's very likely that the Lakers are probably going to be pressured now, not from the outside, but from the inside, from the roster standpoint, that they're probably going to have to make a move now. What they make is still unknown. I still lean towards something small because I don't believe they want to trade Reeves, D'Angelo, and possibly not Rui, although I think Rui might be the one thing you can dangle out there to get something. But I don't know how his market is out there. And you'd have to obviously throw in the 29th pick, which that actually might be the one that they don't want to throw in. So they'll need
the only one they can throw in.
They need a 13. They need a 13 to facilitate this. And that 13 would get something from the team that's sending a player to the Lakers. I don't know how Rob's going to do it. I don't know what's out there at the moment that would make sense. I don't think DeJounte Murray would help in this situation, but they're probably going to want Austin Reeves, and I don't think that's going to happen.
You guys are crazy out there. Tyrone's saying they're trading Gabe. Gabe, if let's say you're you pick the other GM on the other end, and you're trading for Gabe Vincent. We just saw a trade yesterday with one guy that's injured out and out for the season for another guy that's out for the season. Several draft picks were involved. The Lakers, if they had to trade Gabe Vincent, they would probably have to attach several seconds or that first to move him. Is that really what you would want to do? Is that really? I mean, we're seeing it right now in the chat, Joe. We're seeing that. We're seeing get Jeremy Grant, the very expensive and overpriced Jeremy Grant in Portland. We're seeing DFS's name back up again. We're seeing all these rash judgments again because of this injury. It just the rationalization factor. It just, man, people are just like going to go even crazier at this point in time. And like you said, the pressure will be internal and external as well. Yeah, Tyrone said we got 5 seconds. Let's just give them all. You get a second, and you get a second.
There was something floating around today that Washington would be willing to take some seconds for Ty Jones. I would say that's a pretty realistic trade if it comes to that. It could be someone that could help the Lakers for sure, and you wouldn't have to give up any players or any major assets in terms of draft picks. The Wizards are a team that the Lakers have done work with, and Will Dawkins is apparently maybe one of those guys that has a good relationship with Rob. So I think that's likely going to be a trade that can come about. Now, what the Wizards are probably going to wait for is they're going to see if they can get a better package for him. He is on an expiring contract, so that's good for the Lakers. They're not going to be tied to anything, and they don't like to be tied to anything generally, especially if it's a role player. So yeah, I'd say if there's a trade that I had to pick that would make sense, that is realistic, that would fill a need, it probably would be. It probably would be Ty Jones. Now, here's the interesting part. Would that be the precursor of another trade? Would they trade D'Angelo at that point, since they get a guard that can they get a guard basically, and get a package together for Murray for D'Angelo? That could be something there too. I'm not reading that anywhere. That's just me kind of thinking in my head what pieces would have to come together for them to enhance this team and have a chance at trying to compete should they make it to the playoffs, which I believe they'll make the play-in for sure. How the playoffs go is a whole different category. The Lakers have to win 25 of 32 to probably get at least a 6th seed. They probably get a 5th seed in that case, dependent using the current standings winning percentages. I don't know, man. With Vando out and his services on the defensive end and his ability this last few weeks of just getting into the passing lanes and really causing havoc on defense, and then of course started hitting shots from 3 and being dependable at the rim, man. This is a big blow. This is a big blow, and I don't know how they're going to get through this one.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, aka Hyman Roth, right here with us. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. No problem, cool bro. Glad to have you here. Tomorrow he gets to watch Scarface, Joe, and that nice G-rated movie that it is. So there you go. But cool, bro.
Oh,
that Disney family movie named Scarface.
Don't watch it.
It's too late. He's going to be corrupted by
Don't
it
watch
tomorrow. It's up to his parents, and they're letting him do it. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. I got to ask you this, my friend. I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, the chat, they just want trades. They just want trades to want trades. They don't care about the ramifications down the road. They don't care about the fact, if a kid puts us back in the repeater tax or it doesn't matter. To get up to a couple slots and maybe a 1st or 2nd round loss, they're willing to do and trade anything out there. I just see it. They just don't care. They don't care about what smart money and how to manage it is. And I think that the Lakers, they fall into that trap. The management, they fall into that trap of making rash judgments by making irrational moves at the wrong times. And even if they go ahead and now feel like they're more forced to make a trade, again, there's not anyone out there that's going to move the needle far enough, especially with now another rotation player out there that's going to get you where you want to go. I will say it until I get blue in the face, my friend, because it's true. You have to keep your cool, and the best organizations out there keep their cool and make the smart and wise moves, Joe.
It's rare that a trade at the deadline makes you go from suffering to title. There's only two memories of that in my 33 years of watching NBA basketball. One was the package of Otis Thorpe uh, in Houston to Portland for Clyde Drexler.
I mean, last year's trade deadline where
then,
yeah,
again, it worked, but I'm talking title. Again, we have to really focus on that. This is about titles at this point. I know it's not likely to happen, but that's the point here. The other was Rasheed Wallace being traded after 3 days from Atlanta to Detroit in 04. And I don't see any Rasheed Wallace's or any Clyde Drexler's in this league right now that would be available. I know that there is some rumblings out of Miami that Jimmy Butler might get traded. I don't know if I believe that either. That might be just maybe something going out there where maybe they just leak something just to see if there's anything out there that could, come together. Maybe they get a call from Oklahoma City saying, hey, what if we gave you 5 first-round picks right now for Jimmy Butler? You put Jimmy Butler in OKC without having to give up assets. Now you're really looking scary if you're Oklahoma City. The Lakers problems are internal and also in the coaching situation. The win yesterday was more remarkable when you actually sit down and watch the game again. I watched it again, and I couldn't believe that they were in situations where they were still playing 4-on-5, even with two stars out, because you have a coach that just will not relent from playing an inferior player. And there's nothing that when you compare a stubborn coach versus a stubborn player 100 out of 100 times is the side I'll be on, because that player has control of the game. The players play. They have control of the game. The coach doesn't. So when a coach is stubborn and not playing the correct rotations and the correct players, this is what you get. Now, there is a slight, I guess, leash that we can throw there because Vando got hurt, so depth became an issue. But I thought that he could do other things than just keep throwing Taurean Prince. I don't like Taurean Prince in a lineup with Reeves and D'Lo. If you're going to use Prince, make sure that those two are not on the court. I don't want to see. Every time I see it, makes me gag, because that is the worst 3-player lineup in the NBA on defense. Check the stats. It's not good, and that's why the Lakers are 500. However, they got career games from Austin Reeves. They got career game from Jackson Hayes. D'Angelo did something that he hadn't done in a Laker uniform since I've watched him. He struggled somewhere and then turned into Superman in something else. I have not seen him do that before. He could not really shoot in Boston last night, but man, he looked like Steve Nash distributing the ball. That is what all-stars do. That's what great players do, is adjust and let the game come to them. And if your game ain't doing what it's supposed to do, you adjust to something else and you perfect that. And he did. I mean, he was phenomenal in getting the guys the ball. And at the end of the day, guys, it's a shot-making league, and the Lakers made their shots and the Celtics didn't. So that's the simple part of the basketball game. You have to make your shots, and they did.
Yeah, great victory for the Lakers, and that momentum was kind of circumvented a little bit, unfortunately, to Jarred Vanderbilt's injury. And Joe, you and I have seen this organization for quite some time, and especially in recent times with Rob and Jeannie. And the knee-jerk reaction is that they'll have a knee-jerk reaction, my friend. And that's something I wanted to go ahead and discuss, the possibility out there. And again, a lot of people saying do trades. And again, to me, it's just about having the assets to get better players even if it means you cannot field the team that you want to this season. If your summer is on the horizon and it's looking a lot better and a lot clearer for you, maybe you should pave your way to that and just take your chances what you have now. But again, that's what I see, but not everybody else is seeing that. In fact, most people are saying, like I said, trade now. And I'm worried that that same kind of pressure is being levied on making a move we might regret once again, like the Westbrook trade. That's what I'm worried about. That's what worries me, is falling into one of those traps.
No, they're not going to do something like that again. And the Westbrook trade was not done because of yahoos on social media pressuring them. That's not why they made that trade. They made that trade because Rob and LeBron was a big part of this, and LeBron panicked. They panicked because they saw Harden go to Brooklyn, and they all go, "Oh shit! Now what? Now if that team gets to the finals, how the hell are we going to beat them?" So they went ahead and scalped their team and went with Russell Westbrook, and the rest is history. And I'm saying LeBron because I remember distinctively that Anthony Davis said, "Let's run it back." I remember that very vividly. And in the long run, and in the long run, it was probably going to be it should have been the way to go. It should have been. They should not have panicked. But when you're not good, see, when you're successful in life, what's success in life? Okay, you got money and you don't have to worry about bills. Okay, yeah. But you got, you see a lot of people who have money that are.
And by the way, you were just using the Harden as an example because Empire Jeff's saying that is a deadline move where Russ was in the summer. But I think he was just seeing that the loading up, as far as teams loading up with three superstars. That's what you meant. Harden, Empire Jeff said Harden was a deadline move, trade deadline move. Russ was a move that was made in the summer. I think your point was
so
that
here's what happened.
Teams were loading up.
So that playoff, you had Durant essentially. They could have beaten Milwaukee if his shoe size was maybe one size less, right? That's what happened there. So they were building momentum together at that point. They were that close to beating Milwaukee, and if they had beaten Milwaukee, maybe they had a chance to win it all. So now that summer, they were worried about them coming back stronger. That's what I meant. That's what happened. Yes, even though Harden was there before, they were more worried about it the following year.
Arms race, per se.
Yeah.
An arms race.
Yes. Because obviously they couldn't make the Westbrook trade at the deadline, but they sensed that, man. So here, I'll explain what happened in 2021 for those who don't remember. I remember, if you go back, I came on that year, right, Gerald? It was
late 21. Yeah.
Okay. There was an issue because I didn't know if there was any archives of it, so you guys can see it.
You could see it.
I remember that team, that year, 2021 team. There was at least 20 or 30 games where they had this 3-minute dead space where they didn't score. They just didn't score. They couldn't score. And a lot of that got hit on the fact that the players, guys like Caruso, guys like KCP, guys like Kuzma, they weren't able to score. The trade came from something, too. It wasn't just like, oh, well, let's just go get Westbrook and here's our guys. There was an issue that year where they weren't scoring for 3 minutes in each game at some point in the game. And it was frustrating because you're like, they're not making a shot. They're not getting to the line. They're not doing anything. It's like 3 minutes. It was always like a 3-minute gap. So that carried on until they got to the playoffs. They go up 2-1 against Phoenix. We're starting to feel like, holy crap, this is it. Like, we're going to roll this. And then AD got hurt, and then that was a wrap. And then now they're going to the offseason like, man, we need some freaking offense. We need some firepower. Maybe Russell Westbrook as a third option can be that guy. Plus, Caruso was injured a lot that year as well. And one of the things that's always been great with Westbrook is his availability. So there was a lot of that going on at that time. From my thought, could Russell Westbrook be a 1? No. Could he be a 2? No. Could he be a 3? Maybe. He might work out as a 3. And then you could kind of build around the big 3. But again, that's why I'm not a GM. I screwed up in supporting that. Now Jarred, he's Mr. Hyatt, sitting on his platinum chair with his pipe.
I wish it was platinum.
With his chin up in the air, saying, "I told you so."
I told you so.
What is it? What is the old saying? Dogs shine. The sun shines on a dog's ass.
Twice,
So,
at least once a day. Yeah.
Backhanded comment are my special.
Thank you, LeBron. Appreciate it.
Yes, good. So but that was the silent dagger that bled internally, secretly. And this is where we're at now. We're at the end of the internal bleeding, finally shutting down organs and essentially saying, you know what, I think this thing is about to die. And that's the facts, guys. We're not getting any help. Like Jeff said, the basketball gods, they saw a glimmer of positivity last night, and then they said, no, we're not going to let you get over this. Pink, we're going to take your best defender after AD, and we're going to take him out for the year. Sorry. Have a nice day. LeBron, have a nice career. You're going to be stuck at 4, and this is something you're going to have to live with.
Alan YST, I want to let you know, if you look at the JPEG, that's there may not be footage exactly of the injury itself, but if you see it, he actually, when he got injured, he stole the ball, popped it right there. They called it a timeout, and he immediately hopped off the floor and went to the back. So it was it all happened really quick. So I'm like there may not be footage of it out there, but yeah, at least I got the JPEG of it out there right when the injury happened, just to let you know, just to give you an idea of what's going to happen. Again, Jarred Vanderbilt is out at least several weeks. I'd essentially be safe and let's put it in reality terms, Joe. Let's just say he's out the season, okay? Because he's going to be evaluated in several weeks at that point in time, or could be determined. If he has surgery, yeah, he's done for the season. I'm just going to assume at this point he's out for the season. Just be surprised happily if he actually comes back before the end of the season. But that probably will mean he probably wouldn't be around till the playoffs at the earliest. So that means another rotation player down. We do know Gabe Vincent's going to be evaluated sometime probably around the All-Star break, if not a little bit sooner, in regards to what his knee status is. It's just not a pretty picture with those two guys out of the lineup. I understand that there's probably going to be some moves along the margins now. The impetus is there. The Lakers just are running out of options. But the Westbrook trade, as you said, we still feel the Westbrook trade continuously, because the Lakers would have more assets right now if they have never made that trade.
Well, not only the assets, but you would have still had seasoned vets who are still young playing integral parts in things that you don't do well right now, which is play defense, hit shots, hit timely shots. Imagine this, guys. Imagine what they traded. They traded 3 very good defenders. Very good. We could use those guys. 2 of them, when they got hot on from shooting, were like, those are 20-point wins. That's how important they were. And then Kuzma, his length, and maybe he would have improved his shooting. We gave up on Kuzma a little too early, unfortunately. And I got caught into that too. I got caught in the fact that Kuzma should have been a better player. But I think, the fact that going back to what I said, he wasn't doing well shooting, but then he started getting better at defense, and we didn't appreciate that enough. The Lakers screwed the pooch on that one. And by the way, cool bro, I would watch the 1962 Lolita with Peter Sellers. It's a much better film.
Yes,
much better film. It's
that
actually,
I have.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Actually, there's a scene where Peter Sellers, and this is probably one of my favorite scenes in terms of direction, where you see a car following Lolita and the guy, and Peter Sellers is in the background. You can see a car kind of follow them. It's just one of those really, really cool things. Like, who is that in the back? So yeah, I would recommend the '62 Lolita movie instead of the '97 one.
And let's not forget Cam Reddish will be out a couple weeks with his injury.
Well, unfortunately, Cam Reddish doesn't play as well as Vando and doesn't command the. I guess if we could have Cam do what Vando did, sure, but
Kratos, he's going to be evaluated in several weeks and to be determined at that time. Again, he could be out even longer pending further evaluation. So we're going to err on the side of
in his foot.
We're going to err on the side of reality and that he's going to be gone
the year.
Yes.
And even if he came back late, he's not going to be in shape. He's not going to. Unfortunately, guys like Cam Reddish and Jarred Vanderbilt they're not those players. They're not the players that are game changers. This is how things usually come about with guys like that. And they can't just turn it on and come in, and they don't have that kind of talent, unfortunately. But just scratch Vanderbilt for the year. Scratch Gabe Vincent for the year. Those guys are gone.
No, I think, Gabe Vincent, he's going to be reevaluated. I don't want to say he's gone, but be pleasantly surprised.
I'm going to say he's gone until I see something different.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Really...
Cam Reddish is the one that of the three is most likely to come back. How about that?
Dan, I'd rather have Westbrook come back than Stanley Johnson.
Really?
Stanley Johnson is Rancho Santa Margarita's finest, but not in the NBA. Sorry. Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley Johnson is a no-go. Sorry there, Dan.
But again, we're going to be looking at options now, Joe. Again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, a.k.a. Hyman Roth, along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. So the Lakers, I just feel that a knee-jerk reaction is coming, Joe. I just feel that they're trying to hold on to.
You from Rob?
Yes, as far as to do something that maybe they weren't planning on doing.
No,
before the trade deadline.
You don't have anything to do a knee-jerk reaction unless you want to gut your team again, which I'm sorry, but you can't. You just run with what you have and see if you can get someone like Jones out of Washington with however many second-round picks you can get, and then that's it, folks. It's not going to matter anyways. It doesn't matter if you go get Murray even if you did Reeves a first for Murray, it's not going to make a difference. This team is debilitated. LeBron is 39 years old. LeBron is playing long enough for a 16-year vet to play in the NBA and get into the Hall of Fame, and he's still playing. Like, what I mean by that is a player could have played 16 years, a great player, retired, and gotten into the Hall of Fame in the same time that LeBron is still in the league. The Lakers are not planning for the future here. They keep trying to do what Mitch Kupchak was trying to do after the veto for Chris Paul. He just kept trying to he was putting Band-Aids on wounds that needed surgery. You just can't, guys. You just can't. You can't expect a discombobulated team to work, even if you have a couple stars. And I say that because the record says it, and the way they play together says it. It's just not good. At some point, if this team was going to go that route, I believe it would have happened at some point in December after the tournament. I would think that the tournament momentum would have carried them, but they didn't. They started to relax, or whatever it was that you want to call it, and then they started getting worse. How do you get worse when you are playing good basketball and you didn't have any injuries at the time? Like LeBron didn't get hurt, AD didn't get hurt. It's a mental thing also. It's a mental thing. With LeBron, it's an age thing. The longer he goes, the worse he's probably going to get. And a lot of it could be mental. This is a taxing league, especially when you play as long as he has. He's not he's still a man at the end of the day, and he's a human being. Things are gonna not click. You look at Allen Iverson towards the end of his career. He was a shell of himself, right? Why? Well, because he got older. Yeah, that is true, but it's also mental. Mental. You get tired of like, oh man, they're still getting on me for this, and they're still getting on me for that. And at some point, you go home and you're sitting there with your wife, and she's there to support you, and somebody says, "Oh, LeBron said this or that," and then and a lot of it, he does do it to himself to some degree too. But when he doesn't do it to himself, it's still taxing after a while. It's mentally draining. So at that point, what else? What else is there for Laker fans? What we need to do is continue to talk about what's the next steps, because we're going to be here until we die, right? If I live to the average age, I'm going to be watching the Lakers for at least another 30 years. I'd like to not be the Knicks the last 52 years. Just saying, can I don't want that. I don't have a choice in it if these guys don't figure it out. But I think the Lakers need to start figuring out post LeBron now, and once the summer comes.
You guys are crazy with your trade proposals. It's hilarious. I think if an NBA GM was here right now, Joe, let's say the Brooklyn GM, because a lot of this is going the way of Brooklyn right now in the chat right now. And by the way, Cool Bro wants to let you know he does a damn fine Godfather impersonation, I guess. Okay. But I just want to see, if you look at the chat right now, they're crazy. They're absolutely, if you were an NBA GM looking at this, you'd be rolling in hysterical laughter because the fact Gabe Vincent is not a tradable asset right now. The guy's got a bum knee and a bad 3-year contract right now that you're looking at. Why would you want that if you're an opposing NBA GM? Think about this rationally, people. I mean, I keep telling you everywhere, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news all the time, but you guys got to think this rationally. But, if you want to, go ahead. But it's just so funny to see, Joe. The thing is, though, okay, let's say they do the trades. Let's say they make the knee-jerk reaction. Let's say they give up that first-round draft pick, the only one they have. Let's say they throw in some seconds or a pick swap or what have you, and then, trade alongside with it. And they only get to the first round and it ends from there. Or maybe even the second round and it ends from there. Will that make everyone happy? Will it all have been worth it, Joe?
No.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to communicate.
That's what they're playing with. They're playing with, there is no player that's going to be available that's going to make a difference. They're going to have to, if they were to have a semblance of a chance of winning a championship, you might as well stick with what you have right now. Add some things. Just add maybe 1 or 2 players, depth, and maybe they might flourish. Somebody like Tyus Jones, right? And then roll with it. Otherwise, you're not being truthful to yourself in what the end result will be. The end result is you would have to have LeBron turn into 2020 LeBron in the playoffs and AD 2020 as well. And you would need all the guys, Reeves, D'Angelo, Rui, to play like KCP, Kuzma, and Caruso. How? D'Angelo doesn't play defense. Reeves doesn't play defense. Rui, when he makes 3 shots in a row, that nitwit takes him out and puts Taurean Prince in there. So now what? So now you're playing not only, and that's the end result. That's the button on this, by the way. I've been trying to stay away from the coaching thing because I'm exhausted. I am exhausted of talking about Darvin Ham. But he is a huge problem. I mean, huge problem in this. It's depressing. It's depressing that an organization this vast and this big could be such terrible evaluators in such a crucial part of the game.
I mean, we talked about it text earlier tonight. He's even Cam Whitmore, because Rodell loves it when we talk about Cam Whitmore on this show. 25 points off the bench tonight, even beating Asar Thompson, the guy who was picked 20 picks, like 16 picks above him, even playing better than him off the bench.
This game tonight was better than the game against the Lakers, too. It was efficient. It's more efficient, even. It's depressing. It's depressing. And again, I'm going to make this really loud. I don't follow college basketball. That's Stone Cold Hanson's department. And I do watch enough, and I people think I'm full of crap. They're like, how the hell do you know so much about college basketball if you don't watch it? I'm like, well, I don't watch it like religiously day in and day out. I do follow some things. And I a lot of times I can just see a player play for a game and go, damn, that guy can move. And usually college basketball, especially now, every time you see anybody, it's like, how's this guy going to play in the NBA? A lot of it is too because they're freshmen. They're not, if they were maybe juniors and seniors like they used to be, you could see a little bit more. But it's a crapshoot at this point. But you cannot fake athleticism. You cannot fake someone who can run like Bo Jackson and jump out the building. That's an exaggeration, by the way. He just looked like Bo Jackson next to the Lakers. So it's just, you're sitting there, you're going, your 17th pick. 17th pick in the NBA draft is the equivalent of the third round in the NFL. You're not supposed to get a star there, like a bona fide all-pro. You're not supposed to get an all-NBA guy at 17 typically. But if you've got someone there that has the athleticism and the body to play in the NBA, and you take the chance. You take a chance. Who cares?
Because he didn't interview well?
So what? Is he going to book cocktails? See, and this is the thing. Is he going to book dinners with Jeannie to go talk with friends? I need him on the basketball court. I don't need some guy who can run a marketing campaign on a damn TV with a bunch of yahoos. Who cares? Who cares about interviews? They're there to play basketball. What, you want chemistry and all that? Okay. If it bombs, who cares? It's a 17th pick. But you pick the best player. And you can go back 3 years from now and say, and they're like, hey man, what happened here? Why did you pick this guy? He was the best player available at the time. He was the best player.
Now, someone has the right idea. I'm going to put this up there, even though.
And it's compounded too, by the way. If they had gotten Triple J, let's say, and he was playing well, then we're not having this argument. It's just like, well, they're worried about his injury. They got a good player there. Hey, it is what it is. They didn't get Cam because they don't do their job. They don't do their work, man. They don't do it. The bus boys are usually looking for the needles in the haystack. They're not paying attention to the guys that actually are good. They're looking for that guy that's kind of been left off. Okay, have them do that. And then you as the GM need to pay attention to the guys that are going to be picked higher, not the guys in the second round or the guys in the free agency market. The situation the Lakers are in right now, missing on that is killing it even more. It's killing what we had. Imagine if you had someone like that. Imagine if you had a rookie dropping 25 and 28 for the Lakers right now. You think LeBron would be playing 36, 37 minutes? No, he wouldn't. You'd have that guy. Imagine distributing to a guy that can jump out the building. It's frustrating because it's what they needed this year so bad because the money isn't killing them. It's a rookie contract, and he's got the intangibles you need, especially on a team like this that has 2 stars. His game would be even more effective because you really couldn't concentrate on him once you started rolling because you have LeBron and AD there. It's tough. It's a tough. This was the better he plays, the worse this season gets for me because again, It's the contract and the talent tied to it. The reason why the Lakers can't improve is because anyone that they could get that would improve the team either is making 30 or 40 or 50 million dollars, and you can't get them based off the CBA. And even if you did it, you now got the team again, just like you did with Westbrook, and now you're depending on 3 guys to win you a championship. It's just all out of whack. It's all out of whack, and it just keeps getting whacked. We're like whack-a-moles. Should be the Los Angeles whack-a-moles.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching us. We truly appreciate it. Cool, bro. I got some questions for you. Remembering in the chat, best Lakers chat room that's out there is the Lakers Fast Break. Want to make sure that you know, Joe, that Cool Bro's asking about your favorite horror movie, if you have one. And then also Sunday's asking you if you like the draft now going to a 2-day format. Similar. Now, of course, it's longer over extended period of time with the NFL, but they are going the NFL route with a 2-day draft.
Adam Silver.
It's a made-for-TV move.
Adam Silver. No one wants to watch anyone get picked in the second round on the second day.
That's why they go like 30 seconds. Next pick, next pick, next pick.
You need to fix. Well, it's too late now. You need to fix what you screwed up with the CBA, but we're gonna have to wait 6 years till then. By making it harder for players to move around, you've killed your one advantage over the NFL, and that's when July 1 hits. The NBA is smoking between July 1 and July 15th, and now you just pissed that away this last couple of years because for some reason you want these stars to stay in Milwaukee or New Orleans or wherever the hell you want to pump up there. No one gives a crap about New Orleans, and they never will. No one cares about Charlotte. The fact that you guys took a second stab at Charlotte only makes you dumb. Charlotte didn't work the first time. You should have just let it go. New Orleans, I've talked to a lot of people I know in Baton Rouge. They don't even know who the hell's on the team. Okay? I think the NBA needs to start getting back to the basics. Stars, and let them dictate where they want to go, and stop making it hard for trades to transact. It's the most exciting part of the game, believe it or not. It is. But they want to do what the NFL does. They want all the teams to be. They want the front of the jersey to be what the popular thing. There's not enough talent to do that. The NBA is player centric. There's only a handful of great players in a given year. We call players great because we're dumb. There's only 5 really great players in a year. Like you can call them great, like LeBron in his prime and Steph in his prime and those kind of guys, those generational players. That's what I consider great. Durant when he was at Oklahoma City. Now, I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook and Ty Young and Trae Young and those types are not good players, but the term great, the way I think of it, is I'm talking the generational guy, not the stat guy, not the guy that's, jumping out the building. Great means this guy, man, when he walks into your building, there's an aura around him. He's always competing. The competition is factored in there. Is this guy going to be a champion? Is this guy going to play this great player versus this great player? But we're different. Like us here, we're going to be watching because that's our job. But if I wasn't on the Lakers Fast Break, I probably wouldn't be watching most of these games, and I'm definitely not watching the draft unless I can time it to where I can see what the Lakers are getting.
Well, I should still, one of these days on my to-do list is actually to get the footage of you and I screaming for Cam Whitmore during that draft and getting JHS instead.
It was a bad omen. It was a bad omen when I saw the pick. He was wearing a velvet green monstrosity. Seriously, like what department store clown store did he get that from? It's an embarrassment. Some of these guys wear things that are an embarrassment, and someone needs to say it. It's a the word clown is the only thing I think. Would just put a red nose on his face, and that it would work. And that was what we got. We got a guy that can't shoot, that can't really get to the rim, and can't play defense. And I'm trying to figure out. Oh, that's right. Oh, he interviewed well. Oh, he works hard. Okay.
Remember that time in camp where
Yeah,
everybody was talking about him as the star of the camp for that day?
He works hard. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good trait to have in the NBA. Can't shoot, can't play defense. There was some positiveness in his mid-range game in an era where the mid-range game is going.
And he could pass.
Pass where? Pass gas?
Possibly.
I haven't seen him make one good pass in the however many games he's played this year.
And then everybody tells, well, Lewis looks really good. I'm like, the guy got donuts three times.
Looks like fudge.
3 times he got donuts.
He looks like Alex Fudge. Alex Fudge is
gone.
He looks like Alex Fudge looked like a guy that had never picked up a basketball in his life. Defense, maybe, but dude, you got to have some skill on offense somewhere.
Stone said he was the worst offensive player he's ever.
Yeah, and when he said that, I thought maybe it was a little bit of an exaggeration. Holy smokes. Maxwell Lewis is like maybe a tad bit above that. He is horrid. Where the hell did they find this guy, Pepperdine? Did he interview well too? Or was it because he was a local guy?
I mean, he couldn't crack the starting lineup until the last game for the Summer League, Joe. Summer League. That should tell you all.
I don't have an answer, dude. I don't have an answer. This was the worst year. I have never seen. This is, again, this was a shock to me. You don't see top 4 players drop that low in the NBA. It doesn't happen. This is the first time I can remember something like this happening. He was the 4th best player in the draft. He dropped to the 20s. It was like watching Randy Moss go to the Vikings in '98. You're sitting there like, Dallas, dude, you got Randy Moss. Oh, they passed on him? What? I think they got DeMarcus Ware, so they weren't hurting. It might have been DeMarcus Ware. I have to look back on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not in the cards, folks. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news here the rest of the season, but the Vando thing is like continuous paper cuts that are starting to get into the much bigger cuts to the Laker season. And eventually those cuts are going to start bleeding out, and it's going to start being a problem, and then we're going to hit the wall. And there's no bandage for this one, guys. There's too many cuts. There's no bandage in 6 days that's going to change this, unfortunately. There's just not enough assets that the Lakers can use without shredding what little depth they do have, and now it's gotten even less. So yeah, it's sad. It sucks. I'm just going to try to enjoy the games, the ones that are good. I thought last night's game was great. Just from a Lakers-Celtics standpoint, made me feel like a little bit too that the Celtics might not be as good as I thought they might be. I think they're going to succumb to the usual thing in the playoffs, which is they're not going to be able to score when they need to. And if you body up Porzingis a little bit, he starts floating closer and closer to the opposing basket.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. But one of those trade assets the Lakers will not have and will not use is LeBron James. LeBron James, despite the hourglass tweet that he tweeted the other night, despite all the rumors, and again, I got a lot of people texting. I got my 90-year-old mom calling me. I got LinkedIn messages from NBA writers we've interviewed on the show before. All asked, So what about the LeBron James rumors? Is he going to be traded? Is he going to be traded? I said to everyone, please, if LeBron does not want to be traded, he will not be traded. It's not like he has a no trade clause, but in essence, he's got enough power and sway within the Lakers organization that he has, in essence, a no trade clause. So, Joe, it was said earlier today with Mr. Clutch himself, LeBron's agent, Mr. Paul. He said, and I quote, that LeBron isn't going anywhere. He is not being traded. So people need to just slow down on the LeBron trade rumors. But your thoughts, my friend, that I think that it was a fervor over nothing. People get excited over nothing. There was like one report that people went like wildfire over. Again, all this fake news and fake rumors that you're seeing out there just throws everything out of whack. But anybody who seriously thinks that LeBron is going to be traded without some smoke there first, without some reports from Woj or Shams or anybody legitimate saying it, it just doesn't happen out of the blue like that for LeBron James.
No, and we discussed this before.
And I'm not saying not to trade him. I didn't
today.
And I'm not saying not to trade him. I'm just saying that he won't.
No, yeah, the Lakers don't. First of all, the Lakers can't trade him because they don't know what the hell they're doing. You'd have to have a plan to trade him. You'd have to have a plan, and you'd have to have a team that says we're a LeBron James away from winning a championship. We're going to send you assets. Now, at the same time, that team's going to have to deal with LeBron James. Yes, folks, deal with LeBron James. LeBron James brings baggage. He brings the LeBron James intellectual property. There's a lot of things you have to cater to. And a lot of times that could skew a young team because now the young team sees the old dog doing what he wants and he's controlling the higher ups, and then they're going to feel entitled to do the same thing. So anybody who's smart that's trying to compete for a championship isn't going to trade for LeBron James. Sure, somebody like Charlotte or I don't know, Detroit. Sure, they'll say, yeah, let's get LeBron in here. At least we get the seats filled up, right? But he's not going to want to go there. So this discussion is stupid. LeBron has played in the NBA for 21 years. He's never demanded a trade, and he never will. And he will not turn down $51 million.
I don't want to say he'll never will. I'm not going to say
he will never ask to be traded.
I'm not on that one.
It's February 2nd, 2024. He will never ask to be traded.
I'm not going to say never and say never. So
never.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want. I'm saying never. Now, the next step, I don't believe in any way he is going to turn down $51 million at the end of the year. If anything, don't be surprised if Genie extends him an extra year. That's more likely than LeBron opting out. So just put that in the bank as well. As far as how the Lakers are going to prepare for the next run, I have zero confidence in Rob Pelinka and Genie to do that. They're not made for that world. Genie would have to fire Rob Pelinka, whom she just extended last year, and go get someone who knows what to do, how to build a basketball team, who didn't have a willing LeBron before he got there to come to LA and save LA from being the Knicks continuously here the last decade. And also LeBron coming to LA kind of being a precursor to AD coming to LA. I don't care. I know Jeff tries to give credit to Rob Pelinka. He was the guy here. No, Jeff, I'm sorry. I'm not going to agree with that. You could have had Tiny Tim as a GM and that deal gets done. Okay. It's contracts. It's lawyers. Rob Pelinka had no power in getting AD. There was no influence. Magic Johnson got LeBron to LA, if anybody. Got him to LA, got him to commit. LeBron was coming, but Magic sealed it because Magic is one of the greats, clutch, Magic Mother effing Johnson, okay? The guy wins at everything. It's what he does. That allowed an out for AD to come and win finally, to go play with LeBron, and they did. And in the end, let's be appreciative, man. Let's be appreciative. They got us a title, man. I thought they were going to get us at least two, but we got one. We got one. And it's nice. It's nice that we were able to see these two guys become champions in a Laker uniform. LeBron did something that no player in the history of the NBA had done. He was a number one guy on three championship teams with three Finals MVPs. That's pretty remarkable. You can hang your hat on that, LeBron. You can always do that because that's something that's probably going to be harder to do than winning 6 championships down the road.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Truly appreciated. So again, Joe, unless LeBron asks to be traded, it's not going to happen. So I love our audience. Absolutely love it. But sometimes I'll end the show and I'll say goodbye to Joe and goodnight to Joe. And I'll like 10 minutes later, I'll just be making my dinner or something like that. And I'll just start chuckling at the way that the comments just seem to flow on certain things. Rationality, when you're behind that keyboard, it really doesn't matter, Joe. They'll just say what they want to say. And sometimes it's really positive. Sometimes it's really good and constructive. But I sometimes I worry about our chat, Joe. I worry about the fans that are out there because when their hopes are so high because the precedent that's been set with 17 world championships each and every year that we have to maintain that. Sometimes it just, with some of the individuals out there, it just seems like to do it.
Yeah, well, Pelinka fed the crowd a drastic trade, and we've been eating toilet water since. So be careful what you wish for. Sometimes standing pat and enhancing what you have is better than trying to see what's on the other side.
I'm
They
just
got
saying,
caught
think
up.
rationally. You got to think rationally.
It is rationally. What does rationally mean? Define rationally.
I thought just don't feel like you have to do things just to do
I
them.
don't think rational has anything to do with it. It's who you are. It's how you work. And I'm going to go back to an old issue that we share equal concerns. I just read that Barbara Streisand took out some kind of loan, government type loan. This lady's worth $400 million, by the way, to pay off her gardeners or something like that. Of course, it's legal, but just in terms of a person who always yapping about, certain people being this and certain people being that, yet you're the one taking advantage of the system too. But it's okay when you do it. Well, you want someone who has at least $10 billion team that would sell for $10 billion. She's already a millionaire who decided that she thought that she had to take something from some thing to pay her employees. And then when she got caught, she ran back into a little hole and said, no. I never mind. That told me a lot more about who she was. You take away season tickets from Jerry West, the guy that built your freaking dynasties. Jerry West built your dynasties and your dad. Your dad and Jerry West built your dynasties. Yet you're trying to make money off his seats. That's why she did it. She didn't do it because she was upset with Jerry. She wanted to make money out of it. You're pathetic. You want to get down. You want to really get down. These are the things I think of every time I go back. I want to. Maybe I was too harsh, and then I remember Sean looking at me like I was a pussy, and he was right. He was dead right. Turned into a wuss. But sometimes we have that weak moment, and we want to be supportive. We want to be positive. It's a drain to be negative. Rightfully so, by the way. This is not, I don't regret anything I'm saying right now about what's going to happen this year. I don't, because they're 25-25 after 50 games. This team should be at least 30-20, folks. Should be better than that, actually. Should be 32-18. They lost 7 games, maybe even 8 games that they should have had in the bag. And that's killing them right now. If you have those games, this thing looks a little different. The atmosphere is a little different. Your seating is a little different. You're not worried about a play where you got to play extra games again. It's a lot of stuff here. Now, let's say that a miracle happens and they win it all. Where are we going to be then? Then we'll be back to being positive and feeling good and saying how great Jeannie is and how Rob is, right?
Well, we'll find out in less than a week, my friend, as the trade deadline hits to see if the Lakers will or won't do anything. I'm just saying, don't think irrationally at this point in time. And I'm just worried that the Lakers will make an irrational move. That's my concern. And just a move that they'll regret. Gets you 2-3 games here, 4 games, maybe gets you in the 7th spot or maybe even the 6th if all works out well. But what does that really get you? That gets you a first or second round matchup that's you can't overcome. This team in its current allotment does not look like it's going to be able to match up well against the Denvers of the world. Even on the Eastern side, I know you said you're not a big Eastern Conference fan, but how many times do you think they'll go at and win in a 7-game series against a Boston, against a Philadelphia, against a Milwaukee, against a Denver, against even like a Phoenix team in the playoffs? That's something I think you said you don't really have much faith on their side, but man, if one of those 3 players gets hot on the Phoenix team, that could ride them as well for a little bit.
If the Lakers were good enough to get to the finals, I don't think I'd be concerned about Boston, Philly, or Milwaukee. Honestly, I think they have their own problems there. And when you have LeBron and AD on going full throttle in that kind of atmosphere, I think they're gonna do what they do. The Lakers are in the West, so it's not going to be that easy.
No.
And they have too many deficiencies in areas that you can't have deficiency in. You can't have 3 players in your lineup that can't play defense in a league where you can't play defense, because they're just going to continue to play worse. And you can't really win with a coach that doesn't know how to adjust. There's not stubborn coaches that don't do well are a travesty to a team. They're a malignant cancer. Darvin Ham is a malignant cancer to this team because he doesn't change. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't coach. He doesn't motivate. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. And it's, the pockets thing is it's bad posture. It's bad presence. Phil Jackson used to sit. Phil Jackson used to say, Phil Jackson just sits there, doesn't do anything, right? That's not true. It's not true. Phil Jackson was calculated. You'd see him go there, talk and do things. Again, his prep was for during practice, practice. We're talking about practice. And then what was great is when he saw something that wasn't good, he got up and he would ream the ref. And I mean scream. Phil was mean. He's a mean dude when he was mad. And when you saw that guy get up and get mad, man, it was, to me, I've been lucky, man. I've seen Bill Cowher coach and I've seen Phil Jackson coach in my time. And man, those guys, they just had this knack of going after the deterrents, whether it was a ref or even if it was the opposing players, heck, even opposing fans. If you guys want to hear that, put Matt Damon, Phil Jackson in YouTube. There's a funny story during the 2008 finals where Phil Jackson tells him to sit the F down. It's pretty funny, actually, when the way Matt puts it. but we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have that leader anymore, and it's depressing too, considering this team needs that extra motivation, I feel, to get them somewhere. They got it last night because they were getting clowned and laughed at all day after they made the announcement that LeBron and AD were not playing, and then everybody had three guys had career nights in their situations, and then on top of that, the clowns in the green thought they were just gonna run around like a bunch of yahoos and just win the game. Well, Porzingis, maybe you should start looking at your opponent a little bit more seriously, because you had a guy that I was saying should be playing in Israel working you so bad that you were just camping out 29 feet from the basket when you're 7'3". That's an embarrassment, by the way. Seriously. If God had made me 7'3" with that kind of athleticism, oh my God. I know it's easy. I know it's easy for me to say that sitting in a chair in front of a laptop, but I'm serious, man. I mean, some of these guys just don't have it, man. They don't have it up here. They don't use it. Shaq is like one of the few guys that used that. He didn't turn into a pumpkin like Will Chamberlain did. He was always, oh, they don't cheer for Goliath. Who cares? Will Chamberlain didn't like to be booed. He was soft like that. Shaq didn't care. Shaq will dominate you. That's why I picked Shaq over Wilt. Wilt needed to win more, and he didn't. He's 2-4 in the finals. Should have won more. He should have been 6-0 with the talent he had. But I wasn't there to watch him, so I'm just basing it off of certain things that I've learned about that era and that time. But yeah, the mental part plays a big part in this, and I think, unfortunately, that I don't know if we're going to be able to get enough of that with the physical play to get this where we want it to go.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrow along with me, Gerald Glassford. Truly want to thank you so much on a Saturday night for watching and listening. Don't forget tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. is the game time. I'll come on earlier, a little earlier than that, for the pregame show. Then, of course, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Best post game in town comes after that, of course, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. And then your nightcap for the evening. Joe Sorrow looks around probably at the 10 o'clock hour. Go ahead and wrap that up for you. But Joe, it's been a great episode. I thought we'd go ahead and talk about some things, both good and bad for the Lakers. Again, coming off that strong victory, but hearing the bad news about Jarred Vanderbilt. Then also as well, the reality setting in that LeBron James is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. But yes, Gary, we never stop. We're just glad to be here for you and everyone out there. But any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on? No? Okay. There you go. Zangerstein says The Godfather versus The Goodfellas.
That's like picking between my kids. They're different movies, man. They're different movies. I don't know if I could pick which one's better.
Okay.
I believe that Goodfellas should have been the best picture that year, but the Dances with Wolves won. Too much violence, I guess, for the softies. But in terms of movie making, it's got to be The Godfather. I every time I watch The Godfather, I'm going, at that time in 1972, to make a masterpiece like that, geez. You're watching Brando do his thing. I'm like, God, how did this guy do this? How did this guy turn into an Italian head of the family character? You do not see any acting in that movie at all. It's phenomenal. Sonny, Michael, Robert Duvall. I mean, everyone. Saluzzo. The acting Saluzzo. If you watch him in that Louis restaurant with Pacino and the Chief, you're looking at him and you're seeing how he's distributing the drinks as the maitre d' is filling the wine and all. I'm like, that's what we do when we're at dinner. And it's like, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, Francis Ford Coppola doesn't get talked enough about how great of a director he was, because I'm sure that's something he, had there. And I know it's easy for him to put stuff like that together because he's been to enough of those restaurants and been around that. He had all that in his mind, in his head. But man, when you see it develop the way the way you do. It's a phenomenal film. It's just the details were amazing. So, but yeah, I guess if I had to go with one, if I had no choice but to pick one, The Godfather by a hair.
Okay. I'd probably say Goodfellas for me by a hair. Maybe The Godfather 3 is really not enjoyable watching for me. I just think it's compared to the other two. I just thought it's not in this class. But Goodfellas is a great watch each and every time. So that's
Unfortunately, the Godfather 3 thing did get paired to the first two, which is not fair. I actually don't mind Godfather.
Why do you think it's not fair?
Because it's not it's stupid. It's a movie that was made 16 years later, and the movie was good. If it wasn't it wasn't on the backdrop of The Godfather, it would have been a good movie. There was amazing scenes in there, and Coppola got screwed in the casting in that one. He wanted Winona Ryder. Something happened where that deal didn't go through. And then
should not have put, should not
but
not
it wasn't
have
his
been
fault. He had to, these this, G. Yeah, these timelines with these films. There's a certain, like, they're all on a clock, and they got to get things going. And then
she's a great director, but yeah, she should not have been in that.
Al Pacino didn't help matters. He pissed off Francis by saying, "Hey, I don't want $5 million. I want $7 million." He's like, "Dude, come on, I think Francis might have been hurting for money at that time. That's why he needed to get it done. But there are scenes in there that are very powerful, Gerald. I mean, that scene and I'm sorry, guys, there's a little bit of a spoiler here. I'm not going to go into it all, but there is one scene in there where Diane Keaton makes Al Pacino's character like this, and I'm like, I had to keep rewinding that. Diane Keaton is one of the great. No one talks about her being one of the greats. Jesus, she was phenomenal in that scene. And then you have the one where he's confessing to the priest, and then Danny Garcia, who got nominated for an Oscar for that role that he played. He had like 3 or 4 scenes that I loved in that movie. The movie wasn't bad. It's just, it's not the first two, which isn't fair to compare him to the first two. You saw more range with Al Pacino in 3 versus his stoic, Godfather destruction personality. Yes, Gary, Scarface did bomb.
Yes.
Scarface did bomb because it was violent. Like that chainsaw scene. Whoo! My sister got
in the hotel right there. Yes.
Yeah. My sister got nightmares watching that.
And Kubra will probably have some tomorrow.
I was in shock. It's like
it made $66 million.
Another one, man. Brian De Palma. He
on the
directed
worldwide.
Carrie, Scarface, The Untouchables. My God,
that Untouchables. That's a good.
He
movie.
Was. Hey, did you ever hear the story about Bob Hoskins and The Untouchables?
No, I did not.
Okay, so Bob Hoskins was supposed to be Al Capone, right? So Brian De Palma calls Hoskins, and Hoskins said this, I think, on Letterman or Leno or one of those talk shows. So De Palma calls Hoskins, and he goes, and Hoskins would have been a great Al Capone, by the way. He actually looked like him. And he goes, "Hey, I'm thinking about putting you in as Al Capone, da-da-da-da-da-da-da." And Hoskins had heard that, "Hey, I thought you guys had Robert De Niro." So they're like, "Oh, we're still negotiating. We're still doing this. We're still doing that." And long story short, Hoskins ends up finding out that Robert De Niro gets the part, and then one day he gets, I think it was, he went to the mail or whatever, and he gets a $200,000 check from Brian De Palma, and he's like, it was basically like a thank you. "I'm sorry I didn't cast you," right? So Bob Hoskins goes, I called Brian De Palma and I go, "Hey, Brian, if there's any movie you don't want me to be in, just let me know. Let me know. Give me a call." I thought that was a really cool story. Imagine. So what probably happened was they leveraged the deal, say, "Hey, we got Bob Hoskins, or this, and that," and then I'm sure that whatever extra money they got out of the deal, he went ahead and slipped it to Bob and said, "I got to take care of Bob with this guy." So I promised him the role.
It all worked out though in the end.
It did. I just thought the story. $200,000 in 1986 is probably the equivalent of
$1 million now, at least.
Take $1 million. I don't know if it's that much. I think that's closer to maybe $500,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not bad. Sitting on your butt talking on the phone for a few minutes.
That'll work. But once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be on tomorrow for all the good stuff as far as the pregame, during the game with playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break on the simulcast against the New York Knicks. Plus also as well, of course, go ahead and check us out for the post game and then your nightcap with Joe Soro. Sunday says, Gerald, did you see the Rock standoff with Roman? I did. So they're trying to have their cake and eat it too with Cody Rhodes announcing he's going to face Roman, but he didn't say necessarily at WrestleMania. Meanwhile, The Rock comes in and faces off against Roman, which may be our WrestleMania main event. We're not 100% sure. They left it vague on purpose. Of course, the injury to CM Punk, Seth Rollins is injured as well. Seth Rollins most likely will make WrestleMania. CM Punk will not. Kind of mixes things up. Brock Lesnar with his involvement in the Vince McMahon scandal probably means he is out because he was going to be facing Gunther. That would have been a good hard-hitting matchup, and unfortunately that's not to be. So yes, that's your quick little WWE primer there for you. But yes, some interesting stuff tonight. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Darren says Lakers are still in the Garden 2 games in a row. Yes. The TD Garden and now the MSG. Yes, absolutely. The world's most famous arena, the Madison Square Garden arena tomorrow. So we'll see what happens, Joe. We'll see what happens, and looking forward to it. You think the Lakers have a chance tomorrow if LeBron and AD are in the lineup?
Oh yeah, sure. They always have a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance. And Jim Carrey's coming back.
Yeah!
Dr. Rockmire. Yep. They teased it with his laugh, but yes, he is coming back for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 later on this year. So yes, absolutely. Zangerstein, thank you for being part of everything we do. Cannot wait to see your next Z Notes, which I post right here on the channel, which I'm proud to say, Z and I don't always see eye to eye on things, but I am so respectful for the work that she does and the time that she puts in and all the stuff that she sends to us. Yeah, absolutely. Just great to have you aboard dealing with us here at the Lakers Fast Break. Joe is madly typing away. What was my favorite WrestleMania of all time? That is a good question. I've been to 2. I've been to the one here in Las Vegas at the Caesar's Palace. That was an atrocious one, even though I just didn't enjoy the ambiance. I couldn't really enjoy the one in Anaheim I went to because that was the first time I really found out my dad's health issues because he went with me and was out of breath the entire time. So I was worried more about him, but unfortunately, than watching the actual event itself. And, when I talk about smoking like we did the other night on the cigars, I have that personal experience with my father on that. But I will probably say my favorite WrestleMania of all time.
6.
I'm going to say WrestleMania 10. I love the ladder match. I think that that was really the match that put the ladder match on the map between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. That match is great. I like specific matches better out of WrestleMania matches than the WrestleManias themselves. The WrestleManias themselves, it's really hard to say, that's a fantastic WrestleMania because there's usually not 6, 7, 8 matches that are all really good to great matches on a WrestleMania. It's just so hard for them over the course of 4, 5, 6 hours sometimes for them to keep up that kind of work rate. So it's usually WrestleMania matches that I enjoy more. In fact, the one last year with McIntyre and Sheamus facing off against Gunther, that was a fantastic match. But yeah, just some of the things that are out there. So yeah, I'd probably say 10 would be the one I'd probably say is my favorite. Although the one later on with Bret Hart and Steve Austin, the one that turned Steve Austin into a
13,
good guy. Yeah. And Chicago. that was a really seminal moment as well. So, yes.
Did they do that, Gary? LeBron and Davis are protesting the league requirements on games played in the upcoming agreement. That's the one thing that I do like about the new collective bargaining agreement. Your asses need to be playing, making $51 million. And I know there is a solution, folks. Take less money, which you will not do.
Or play less games.
You want to do that? You want less games? Mr. Rendones and all these, I almost said it again, all these wussies. You want that? You want less games? Take a pay cut. Take a pay cut, boys. Sorry. You guys took advantage. Now,
you can't have it both ways.
Now you're getting it. So, and seriously, someone needs to just call these guys out to their face, man. You guys are a bunch of freaking posers, man. Sack up, crybabies.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. At least you didn't say the B word, calling our audience like you supposedly did 3 days in a row. I don't remember you calling our audience that 3 days in a row, but again.
Well, Gerald, when you hit a target, you hit a nerve, you hit a target. And when someone gets mad about being somebody else getting called a name, that's usually them identifying as that person. So I was in turn in that guy's head, I was calling him you know what. So that's just, hey, if that's what you think you are, then maybe you are.
Then again,
and what was he trying to do there? Trying to play, try to throw back the tough guy thing. Wasn't he doing it? I mean, projection is a very interesting game. It's very easy to identify when you're talking to people who project. You're like, well, why is this upsetting you? Why is me calling people out upsetting you? Why does everything have to be a fight? Like I'm trying to fight you. Like I feel like I'm a tough guy, Well, where does that come from? Maybe that's all in your head.
Xbox, the WWE is coming to your neck of the woods here in just a couple of weeks in Australia. So I don't know.
I can't watch wrestling anymore. The promos are horrid and just everybody's 5'9" and 5'10". I'm like, really? I don't know. It's a terrible product, and I don't know. And the whole kayfabe had an elegance to it back in the day. Now that it's not like that, it's not the same.
It's an evolving business, Joe. That's okay.
Yeah,
you're not unlike many people out there.
Something shouldn't evolve.
I mean, people say all the time, "Oh yeah, I stopped watching in the Attitude Era." Well, there you go. I hear that all the time. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. I will go ahead and mention again that we will be back tomorrow for a full lineup, the pregame, the actual game itself on playback for the simulcast, of course, the postgame, and then a nightcap to top off your night with Joe Soro. Looking forward to it. I guess there's some, Olympic Auditorium in the 70s, Gerald. I went to a few wrestling matches back in the Freddie Blassie days. Darren, that is my first pro wrestling memory, is the Olympic Auditorium. I don't remember much. The only thing I remember is Andre the Giant looking up and seeing this towering figure above. Because I remember being close to the ring, my dad taking me, and I just looked up and saw Andre the Giant winning this battle royal, because he was always winning battle royals. There was nobody that was defeating him, obviously. But it was seeing that got me hooked. And I think it was, I don't know, about 7 or 8 or something like that. I was pretty darn young at that time, and I've been hooked ever since. But I'll leave it from there. Good old Olympic Auditorium. It is still there. It's still up there. The sports arena might be destroyed, but the Olympic Auditorium, I think it's a church now. Is that correct, Joe? I mean, you're closer to it than I am. Downtown LA. It's not in a good spot. It's not in a good area of town. I'll leave it at that. But
there are no good areas in LA except a couple. That's it.
But I will say to you that we truly appreciate, thank you enough for staying with us. We will go ahead and let you guys go. But for now, it's Joe Sorrell, me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching. We'll be back tomorrow for more great stuff, more great talk, and more great conversation, always right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. See you tomorrow, everyone, and be safe.